weekend had arrived like a whispered promise of peace. A family of four, Anna, Mark, their teenage daughter Lily, and their faithful dog Max, drove deep into the forest, eager to leave the noise of the city behind. The tall trees stretched skyward, sunlight filtering through leaves in golden beams, painting the dirt road with shifting patterns. The air was crisp and fresh, filled with the scent of pine and earth, a welcome relief from the concrete world. Max trotted beside the car, his tail wagging eagerly, sensing adventure in every step. Mark smiled, watching the dog's energy. "This is exactly what we all needed," he said softly. Anna nodded, feeling the tension of their busy lives dissolve with every mile. "Tomorrow we will hike the trail beyond the old bridge," she reminded Lily, who was already lost in her phone. But nature had a way of pulling everyone back to the moment. As they set up camp near the river, the soft murmur of flowing water and the rustling leaves created a gentle lullaby. Max explored eagerly, sniffing the ground and circling around their tent. Yet when they all prepared to cross the wooden bridge that led to the trail, Max suddenly stopped. His body stiffened, ears flicked back, and a low growl rumbled deep in his throat. The bridge was old. Weathered planks stretched across the narrow creek, creaking under the wind's faint touch. It looked fragile but still sturdy enough to cross. The family glanced at each other, brushing off the unease that settled quietly. "He's just being cautious," Mark said, stepping onto the bridge. Max backed away, his eyes fixed on the wooden structure, as if it held a secret. "Come on, Max," Anna called gently, reaching out. But the dog stayed rooted, unwilling to move past the threshold. Lily frowned, her voice sharp. Dogs don't act like this for no reason. Yet curiosity won over caution. They decided to cross the bridge without Max, hoping he would follow soon after. On the other side, the forest thickened. Shadows grow longer as the sun dips behind the trees. The trail seemed inviting at first, but an odd silence fell. No birds, no rustling animals. A chill crept into the air, despite the warmth of the day. Back near the bridge, Max paced anxiously, never taking his eyes off the trail the family had taken. As darkness settled, the family returned to camp, relieved but unsettled by Max's behavior. They lit a fire, the flames flickering with warmth, their faces glowing orange in the dark. Max sat close, his body tense, eyes scanning the woods with a sharpness that unsettled Anna. "Something is wrong," she whispered, wrapping her arms around herself. Suddenly, a faint sound emerged from the trees, a slow, rhythmic tapping, like footsteps circling their camp. Mark stood, his gaze piercing the shadows. "Probably another camper," he reassured, though doubt flickered in his eyes. Lily's grip tightened on a flashlight, her breath shallow. Max growled again, low and warning. The footsteps stopped, then resumed, slow circles around their tents. Each step echoed with a chilling rhythm, growing closer yet always out of sight. Anna's heart pounded, the night suddenly thick with unknown presence. Max stood, hackles raised, ready to defend the family, but the mystery behind the footsteps remained unseen. The night grew colder, the fire crackling as if struggling to hold back the darkness. Anna sat beside Mark, her eyes flicking nervously to the tree line where the footsteps had disappeared. Max remained alert, muscles tense, his gaze locked on the shadows beyond the firelight. The forest felt different now, less welcoming, as if it was holding its breath. "We should not have ignored Max's warning," Anna murmured, her voice barely above a whisper. Mark's jaw tightened, but he said nothing. Lily, wrapped in a blanket, shivered despite the fire's glow. "Maybe it was just an animal," she said, trying to sound brave, but her voice cracked. The silence that followed stretched heavily, broken only by the occasional snap of a twig in the dark. Then, without warning, the footsteps returned. This time they were closer, slow, deliberate, encircling with eerie precision. Max growled, a low, guttural sound that made Anna's skin crawl. "Who's there?" Mark called into the darkness, standing tall and firm. But the only answer was the rustle of leaves and the distant hoot of an owl. Suddenly, a soft whisper seemed to float through the air, a voice barely audible, yet chilling in its clarity. Anna frozen, heart pounding. "Did you hear that?" she whispered. Lily nodded, eyes wide with fear. Max barked sharply, sprinting toward the tree line, disappearing into the shadows. "Max, no!" Mark shouted, grabbing a flashlight and following. The beam cut through the darkness, illuminating nothing but swaying branches and empty undergrowth. Max's barking faded, replaced by a tense silence. Then from somewhere deeper in the forest, a faint echo returned. Footsteps, retreating slowly but surely. Mark called Max's name, the fear in his voice unmistakable. When Max finally returned, his eyes held something different, unease mixed with relief. He brushed against Mark's legs but stayed close to Anna, as if sensing danger still lurked just beyond the firelight. The family huddled closer, the warmth of the fire now a fragile shield against the unknown. At that moment, they all understood. The forest was not as empty as they had thought. Something unseen watched them, moving just out of reach, and Max's refusal to cross the old bridge was only the beginning. Morning light seeped through the canopy, casting pale streaks across the campsite. The family moved quietly, each wrapped in thoughts heavier than the rising sun. Max lay close to Anna's feet, still uneasy but calm in the soft glow. The night's eerie footsteps haunted them all, but it was the old bridge that occupied their minds now. Mark stood near the fragile wooden planks, running a hand over the rough surface. "There is something about this bridge," he said, voice low. "I felt it last night, like it holds a memory." Lily watched him, curiosity sparking behind her tired eyes. "Maybe Max senses something we can't see," she added, a shiver running down her spine. Anna's gaze drifted across the creek, where the water whispered over stones, masking secrets below. "We should find out what happened here," she said, determination threading her voice. Mark nodded, already pulling out his phone to check for any local history. The forest felt different in daylight, less threatening but still heavy with quiet stories. As they scrolled, a small news article caught their attention. Decades ago, a man had vanished near this very bridge. Locals said strange sounds were heard, footsteps circling campfires, and the old bridge was where he was last seen. "No one ever found him," Mark read aloud. The search stopped after a week. Anna swallowed hard, the weight of the past settling like a shadow over their plans. Max growled softly, ears twitching toward the trees. Suddenly, a whisper of movement caught Lily's eye. "Look," she pointed. A small, weathered journal lay half-buried beneath leaves near the bridge. Mark picked it up carefully, dusting off the cover. The pages inside told a story of a man who had come to escape his troubles but never left. His last notes spoke of footsteps in the dark and a presence that would not let him cross the bridge. Anna looked at Max, who sat watching the bridge intently. "He knows," she whispered. "The bridge holds more than wooden nails. It holds a warning." The family exchanged uneasy glances, their weekend escape turning into something far deeper, something tied to the invisible threads of fear, loss, and mystery lingering beneath the forest's quiet surface. The morning sun climbed higher, but the forest no longer felt like a refuge. The once inviting trees now cast long, unsettling shadows. The family moved slowly, the weight of last night and the journal's secrets heavy on their minds. Max stayed close to Anna, his eyes sharp and restless, sensing the tension that none of them could fully explain. Mark paced near the fire pit, flipping through the old journal again. "These notes, they're fragmented, but something kept that man here," he murmured, like he was trapped. Anna looked toward the bridge, where Max remained silent but alert, staring across the creek as if waiting for something. "It is as if the forest itself holds its breath," she said quietly. Lily shivered and glanced around nervously. "Maybe we should leave," she suggested, voice trembling just a little. "No," Mark answered firmly, though unease tugged at his own heart. "We cannot just walk away, not without understanding." The family nodded, their fear mingling with a strange determination. They packed slowly, careful not to disturb the fragile peace the daylight offered. As they prepared to cross the bridge, this time all together, Max hesitated again, his body rigid, ears flattened. Anna knelt beside him, whispering softly, "We will be with you. We won't leave you alone." Slowly, Max stepped forward, but every plank groaned beneath their weight, each creak echoing like a warning. The air grew colder, the light dimmer as if the forest resisted their passage. On the other side, the trail wound deeper into the trees, the undergrowth thickening. A sudden rustle nearby made them freeze. Mark shone the flashlight into the bushes, but nothing moved. The forest silence returned, heavy and oppressive. Max growled low, pacing in circles, his unease growing. Then, without any visible cause, a soft set of footsteps echoed nearby. Slow, measured, circling their camp once again. The family exchanged fearful glances. Lily gripped Mark's arm tightly. "It's back," she whispered. Anna swallowed the lump in her throat, eyes searching the dark forest. "We are not alone," she said, voice steady but filled with a deep, quiet fear. Max barked sharply, a fierce sentinel ready to face whatever lurked just beyond the firelight. Night fell again, heavier this time, wrapping the forest in thick darkness. The fire flickered weakly, casting long shadows that danced like restless spirits around the camp. The family sat close, voices hushed, eyes scanning the edge of the woods where the footsteps had circled. Max's growls had deepened, a warning sharper than before. Anna could feel her heart pounding, not just from fear, but from something primal, a call to protect. "We cannot stay here," she said softly, voice trembling but firm. "Something is watching us, waiting." Mark shook his head, tension etched across his face. "We came to find answers, and now it seems the answers are finding us." Suddenly, a crackling noise came from the brush. Slow, deliberate, moving in a circle again. The family stiffened, breath caught in their throats. Lily's eyes were wide, her hands clutching a small flashlight as she whispered, "What does it want?" Max stood, hackles raised, barking furiously into the dark. Then just as quickly, the sound stopped. Silence pressed down, thick and suffocating. The family held their breath, waiting for something, anything to break the stillness. But the forest seemed to hold its secret close. Mark took Anna's hand, grounding her. "We need to stay calm," he said quietly. "We will get through this." But even his voice trembled with the unknown. Max suddenly bolted toward the trees, barking wildly. "Max, wait!" Anna shouted, fear sharp in her voice. The dog darted into the darkness, disappearing from sight. The family froze, caught between fear and the instinct to follow. Minutes passed like hours until Max returned, dragging a torn piece of fabric caught on a branch. It looked old and faded, but it was not theirs. Anna took it gently, her eyes searching the darkness. "This belongs to someone who has been here before us." The forest seemed to close in around them, the past and present colliding in the cold night air. Max circled their feet, alert and unyielding, a silent guardian against the unseen threat. And somewhere beyond the trees, those slow, deliberate footsteps began again, circling, watching, waiting. The piece of fabric hung heavy in Anna's hand, its frayed edges whispering secrets long buried. She traced the faded stitches, wondering whose life had brushed so closely against this forgotten forest. The fire flickered low, casting trembling shadows over the family's faces, worn and anxious from sleepless hours. Max lay close by, ears perked, alert to every crackle and rustle. "We are not the first to be caught here," Mark said quietly, eyes dark with thought. "That fabric, it tells us someone else faced what we're facing." Lily, clutching the flashlight tightly, shivered but leaned closer, hungry for answers. Why would someone leave this here? Were they trying to warn others? Anna's gaze shifted to the bridge, now seeming less a simple crossing and more a threshold between worlds. "Maybe this place holds more than memories. Maybe it holds stories that want to be heard," she whispered. The forest responded with a silence that felt almost alive, the air thick with unseen eyes. Suddenly Max stood, his body tense as a low growl vibrated from deep in his chest. A shadow moved swiftly among the trees, barely visible but unmistakable. "Did you see that?" Lily gasped, her voice tight with fear. Mark raised the flashlight, sweeping it through the branches, but the forest revealed nothing but shifting leaves. The footsteps began again, softer now, almost hesitant. They moved closer, brushing past the edge of the camp, then retreating just as quickly. The family's nerves frayed with every passing moment, but no one dared move or speak. The past seemed to circle them, an invisible force that refused to be ignored. Anna clutched the fabric to her chest, a fragile connection to the unknown. "We have to listen," she said firmly. "Maybe this is not just a warning, but a chance to understand." Mark nodded, determination hardening his expression. "Whatever is out there, it wants us to know something. We have to be ready." Max's eyes gleamed in the firelight, reflecting a fierce loyalty and ancient instinct. The forest held its breath once more, as footsteps continued their slow, steady circle around the camp. Closer than before, weaving the night with mystery and unanswered questions. The dawn broke slowly, filtering pale light through the dense canopy. The forest, once ominous in the night, now seemed to hold a fragile calm. Yet beneath the quiet, an unspoken warning lingered, like the hum of something unseen beneath the soil. The family moved cautiously, their footsteps soft on the forest floor, eyes sharp and searching. Max led the way, nose to the ground, as if tracing invisible lines only he could sense. Anna followed closely, her fingers brushing over twisted roots and scattered leaves, her heart heavy with the weight of the unknown. "There has to be something here," she said softly, "something we are missing." Mark nodded, eyes flicking to the old bridge behind them. "This place holds stories, maybe warnings, carved into the land itself." As they walked further along the trail, Lily spotted something half covered by moss, a small, weathered wooden sign nailed to a tree. Mark pulled it free carefully. The faded words were barely legible, but enough to send a chill through them. "Do not cross after dark." Anna's breath caught. "That explains Max's fear," she said. "He wasn't just scared of the bridge. He was trying to protect us." The family shared a look, understanding deepening between them. The forest was not merely a backdrop for their trip. It was a place with rules they could not ignore. Suddenly, Max stopped, ears twitching. He growled low as a shadow shifted among the branches above. A silent figure slipped between the trees, barely visible, watching them with eyes that gleamed in the fading light. "Who's there?" Mark called, voice steady but loud. The figure vanished before they could see a face, leaving only the rustle of leaves in its wake. The footsteps began again, this time closer, almost urgent. The rhythm echoed through the trees, a relentless circle tightening around their camp. Lily gripped Anna's arm, whispering, "It's coming back." The fabric from the previous night fluttered in Anna's hand as a cold wind swept through the clearing. Anna's voice was firm despite the fear rising inside her. "We need to stay together. Whatever this is, it wants us to understand. We cannot run from it." Max barked sharply, standing guard, as the forest seemed to pulse with silent warnings and secrets waiting to be uncovered. Nightfall returned like a heavy curtain, swallowing the fading light. The fire sputtered under a cold wind that whispered through the trees, carrying with it an unsettling chill. The family huddled close, faces drawn tight with exhaustion and growing fear. Max sat alert at their side, every muscle taut, his ears swiveling toward the shadows beyond the flickering flames. Anna's voice was soft but steady. "We have to stay calm. Whatever is out there, it's watching." Mark nodded, but his jaw was clenched, eyes darting to the dark woods surrounding them. Lily wrapped her arms around herself, trying to hold back trembling. "I don't want to be here anymore," she confessed, voice barely audible. Suddenly, the footsteps began again, closer this time, slow, deliberate, and hauntingly familiar. Max growled low, rising to his feet, hackles raised. The circle around their camp tightened, each step like a drumbeat echoing through the night air. The family's breath caught in their throats as the sound moved just beyond the firelight, tracing an invisible line around their fragile refuge. Anna reached for Mark's hand, gripping it tightly. "We can't ignore this. We have to face it." Mark looked into her eyes, finding in them a fierce determination that steadied his own fear. "Together," he said simply. The fire suddenly flared higher, casting long shadows that twisted and danced. From the darkness came a faint whisper, a voice so soft it could have been the wind, or something else. Anna strained to listen, catching fragments of words that sent a shiver down her spine. "Leave! Before..." Too late! Lily's flashlight flickered, and in its brief glow, Max stiffened, staring into the woods. Anna followed his gaze to see a figure emerge slowly from the shadows. It was a man, older, weathered, eyes heavy with sorrow. He stepped into the firelight, silent but unmistakable. Mark took a cautious step forward. "Who are you?" he asked. The man's lips moved, but no sound came. Instead, he reached out and handed Mark a small, worn object, a locket with a faded photograph inside. Anna's breath hitched. "This is the man from the journal," she whispered, "the one who disappeared." The figure nodded slowly, eyes pleading. The footsteps ceased. Silence reclaimed the night. The forest held its breath once more, waiting for what would come next. The man's eyes held a quiet sorrow that spoke of years lost in silence. Anna stepped closer, the firelight casting soft shadows on his worn face. Max remained at her side, watching intently, as if sensing the gravity of the moment. Mark opened the locket slowly, revealing the faded photograph inside, a woman's face gentle and sad. "This must be her," Mark said quietly. "His reason for staying, or maybe for never leaving." The man nodded, his gaze drifting toward the dark forest beyond the camp. It was as if he was trapped between two worlds, one here with them and one long past. Lily's voice broke the heavy quiet. "What happened to him? Why did he never leave?" The man reached into his coat pocket and pulled out a folded piece of yellowed paper. Carefully, Anna unfolded it, revealing a handwritten note, trembling with age. It spoke of fear, of footsteps in the night, of voices whispering warnings, and of a secret the forest kept hidden. The man had tried to cross the old bridge to escape the past, but was pulled back by something unseen, something that demanded he stay and guard the place. The note ended with a plea: "Protect the living. Beware the darkness that walks with the night." Anna looked up, eyes meeting the man's. "You are still guarding this place," she whispered. He nodded slowly, fading like a mist dissolving into the firelight. "He's trapped," Lily said, voice soft but sure. "Bound to this place by fear and duty." Mark folded the note carefully. "We have to respect his warning. This forest has a story, and we're part of it now." Anna felt a chill, but also a strange peace settling over the camp. Max lay down beside her, calm but watchful. The footsteps had stopped, the forest quiet once more. Yet the air was charged with the weight of what they had learned. A silent message carried through time, a guardian lost between worlds, and a family caught in a story older than themselves. Anna whispered, "We will honor this place. We will remember." Outside, the first birdsong of dawn stirred, soft and tentative, promising a new beginning after a long night. The first light of dawn broke gently through the trees, spilling warmth across the forest floor. The night's shadows had finally lifted, leaving behind a stillness that felt different, lighter, somehow touched by understanding. The family gathered quietly around the dying embers of their fire, their faces soft with relief and reflection. Max lay calmly by Anna's side, his earlier tension replaced by a peaceful watchfulness. Anna reached down to stroke his fur, feeling a bond deeper than ever before, a shared memory of fear, courage, and connection. "You kept us safe," she whispered. Max's eyes met hers, filled with trust and quiet strength. Mark folded the locket and the note carefully, tucking them into his jacket. "We carry his story with us now," he said, "not as a burden, but as a reminder." Lily nodded, her gaze steady. "Maybe some places hold more than just trees and trails. Maybe they hold pieces of ourselves we need to find." Before breaking camp, the family approached the old bridge one last time. Max hesitated but did not resist. Together they crossed slowly, each step a small act of courage and respect. The bridge no longer felt like a barrier, but a passage, a connection between the past and their future. As they walked back toward their car, the forest seemed to breathe around them, alive with unseen gratitude. The footsteps that had circled their camp were gone, replaced by the gentle chorus of morning birds. Anna took a deep breath, the crisp air filling her lungs with hope. "We came here seeking escape," she said softly, "but what we found was much more." Mark smiled, wrapping an arm around her shoulders. "A story of watching, waiting, and finally letting go. Lily looked back once, a flicker of something unspoken passing between her and Max. The dog's eyes shone with quiet wisdom, as if he understood the forest's secret now, and theirs too. The family left the forest that day forever changed, not just by the mystery they had uncovered, but by the quiet lessons of trust, courage, and the invisible bonds that tie us all together. And though the old bridge remained, weathered and worn, it now stood as a symbol, not of fear, but of a journey completed and a new dawn begun. If this story moved you, take a moment to pause and listen to the quiet warnings in your own life and the invisible bonds that protect us. Share this video with someone who believes in courage beyond fear, and subscribe to join us on more journeys where mystery meets heart. Have you ever felt a presence guiding you, like Max guarding the family? Tell us your story in the comments below. Together we can honor the past and embrace the new dawn.